Hey, everybody. I had a question in my private Facebook group yesterday, and it's a question I get a lot. And I've addressed it a lot in my Q&A live streams here, but instead of just her trying to weed through and find it, and I don't think I've ever actually answered this question directly in one of my videos, so I decided to do it here. And that question is, how do I get my husband, my partner, into therapy or coaching for our neurodiverse relationship? And so many of the partners who are asking me this question, those of you who are asking it, you guys have already been in counseling a lot. You've been to other therapists, you've been to other counselors, and it's just been a disaster. And I've talked about this before, and I'm not criticizing my counseling colleagues because the training and the expertise is just not there for neurodiverse relationships. And it's likely that they haven't recognized that you're in a neurodiverse relationship. So what happens is that you have figured out, or that you think that your partner is autistic, which means neurodiverse, whatever word you want to use, Asperger's, some people still use that. And so you think this is what's going on, and you want to try again. You want to go to a specialist. You may have found a specialist. You may be trying to get them to come to me, and they don't want to. And they're like, nope, I'm done. We've tried this. I'm not doing it again. And you feel frustrated. You feel angry. You feel hurt. And so I am making this video to show to your partner. And so if you are the partner, I'm also want to talk to you because I get you. I understand why you don't want to go back into counseling or therapy or coaching now that your partner thinks that you're autistic or thinks that you're neurodiverse, because for one, you really may not think that's the case. Or maybe you've taken the time to do a little research and you're like, I actually do recognize these traits in myself. But you're also probably thinking, I do not want to go into this coaching or counseling environment where now I am going to be targeted as the problem here. And chances are your wife or your partner, your spouse, is identifying you as the problem. And a lot of times, neurotypical partners, for you guys, this really feels like the answer. And you're like, I now understand why so much of this has been happening in our world. I understand the dynamics, and we can finally get some help for this. And one of the things I hear you say to me, and you say in the coaching group, you say it on the YouTube channel, and you say it in the comments and in TikTok and everywhere else, is I really need him or her, whoever your partner is, to understand how much he's hurt me or she's hurt me. I need this person who I think is autistic to understand how much he's hurt me. And those of you who are being identified as autistic or neurodiverse are like, I don't want to go into that situation because it really feels to you like you're just walking into you're basically walking in and standing in front of a firing squad. And so why would I do that? Why would I go into a situation where I've been identified as the problem for all these years, sometimes 20, sometimes 30, sometimes 40 years in our marriage. And now my partner, my wife, my husband has figured out that it's been me. It's been me. I am the source. I am the cause of all the problems. If you are the neurotypical partner, which means you don't have autism and you believe that your partner does, this is not the way to approach it, because no person ever is going to want to go into counseling or coaching under those premises. I don't blame them, and I wouldn't want to either. That's not going to work. And unfortunately, a lot of counselors do approach it that way. If they suspect that your partner is on the spectrum, then your partner becomes the identified patient. It's what we call in the psychological community the identified patient, the identified problem. And the entire counseling experience becomes about that issue, about that problem and how that problem is contributing to the relationship issues. It absolutely is a part of the dynamic. It's a big part of it, but it's not the problem. And so that's why I'm speaking to you, the husband, or I say husband because 9 times out of 10, it's neurotypical wives who are struggling with this, trying to get their husbands in to see me. If you're the husband who your wife is saying, I want to go to coaching with Jodi or to counseling with somebody, I want you to know that when couples come to me, I don't identify as anybody as the problem, because that's not going to work. That doesn't work. That's not going to get you where you want to be in your relationship. If we start with an assessment, I actually assess both of you. And the reason for that is it's helpful to see not how you are different from the world and how you are the problem, but how the two of you are different from each other and what you are each bringing to the relationship, how each of your brains work, how each of your sensory systems function, how each of your personalities have their own unique quirks and strengths and weaknesses. And then we also look at your relationship health overall and what each of you are bringing in terms of attachment and conflict styles and lots of things there, because you both are bringing lots of what I call relationship baggage to your relationship. And autism may be a part of that, but it's not the problem. If it is present, if neurodiversity is present, then it's something for us to look at how that dynamic is contributing to how you misunderstand each other. But that's a two-way misunderstanding. That doesn't mean that you, the person who turns out to be neurodiverse, doesn't mean that you have created this problem in your relationship. It just means that you bring a different way of doing a relationship, of communicating, of interpreting and perceiving than your partner. And that she brings a different way of perceiving and communicating than you. And there's been a lot of misunderstanding. And so we look at all of that. And we look at how you are different from each other. And nobody gets the moral high ground. Nobody gets to be the one who points the finger. We do not blame one person for the problems in the relationship. In the beginning, we start with what's happening in your relationship now. And we look at how you're interacting, how you're communicating, how to get you to a place where you can hear each other, where you can understand each other, because we can't even talk about the past at all. You cannot talk about any hurts, any previous issues until you can actually learn to hear each other and understand each other. There's no point in trying to have a conversation about all those things that have happened in the past if you don't even understand each other yet. It's like trying to have that conversation in two different languages. Two people who speak two different languages who don't know how to speak the other one's language. That's not a conversation that is worthwhile or productive. And that's the conversation you've been having all these years. And it turns into rehashing over and over again, which is not helpful and not useful. And it just led you to where you are now. And most of the time, when couples go into counseling, counselors try to facilitate this conversation, but without the understanding that you don't speak the language that you don't speak each other's language. And a lot of counselors don't get this, and it's because they just don't know. All of that to say, if you are the one that are on the receiving end of this, if your partner's saying, hey, I think neurodiversity is an issue, and I need you to come into therapy. I want you to come into therapy. And you're like, I don't want to do that. Then what I would encourage you to do, if you're still skeptical, I'm not trying to talk you into working with me, but I'm happy to work with you. But if you're still skeptical, then I have tons of videos on my YouTube channel. And you can learn more about me. You can learn more about neurodiversity. You can learn more about how I work as a coach. And then if you want to talk to me, just you and me, before getting on the call with your spouse, then let's do that. And because you need to be comfortable with any coach or any therapist, or if it's not me, whoever you and your partner or your partner has identified as the person to work with, meet with them first, just you and them. That's my recommendation. So if you guys have any questions, you can always contact us, contact me. Just reach out to us at support@spectrumrelationships.com. Hope this helps you guys.